Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Remove Logic. I am your host, Karen Ray Lacey, and thank you so much for joining me on another power-packed episode of Remove Logic. Why remove logic? Because we believe that God is not bound by logic or logistics. And this is the show where we dismantle limitations of logic and step into the possibilities of purpose. Because sometimes the very thing that feels like pressure is actually preparation. Today's conversation on Remove Logic is going to be powerful for you in life, entrepreneurship, or just building something while living. You may be a visionary, a leader, or someone who has whispered to themselves, why does this calling, this vision feel so heavy? But I want to welcome you and thank you so much for coming to Remove Logic. And one of the things that we do here is we dismantle stinking thinking. We try to give you application for things that are limitations or true life issues. As you can see, we're going to be talking about burnout today and being overwhelmed, and that those are true issues. They are real deals for people that are dealing with them. Sometimes on a daily basis, you can hit that wall and you don't know how to come off the wall. So today we're going to be sharing some applications, some strategies, and just have a good conversation, real talk about being burned out and being overwhelmed. If you're new to Remove Logic, I want to thank you so much for jumping on and joining me tonight. And if you are one of our faithful few, I say to you, thank you so much for the Remove Logic community for just showing up and supporting me each week as you do. Now, if you want to get to know who is Karen and who is this Remove Logic lady, you can find me on also my Facebook page. And then if you want to see some of our previously aired episodes, you can find me on our YouTube channel, Remove Logic. And there you'll find a library of previously aired episodes on a multitude of topics. Now, I'm also on the Fishbowl Radio Network, and that's every Thursday night, every week, Thursday nights at 7 p.m. And then we're also on the Lit TV network. And I'm so excited about this opportunity because Remove Logic has expanded to a television network. And you can find me there Mondays, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Remove Logic is more than a show. It is an actual movement. We are moving people from stuck to being unstuck. We are impacting lives and allowing people to come here and share their stories and enable you to get unstuck. So I'm super excited about today's guest, and what she is going to be talking about tonight is burnout and overwhelmed, and the importance of navigating that season. If you find yourself burnout right now, you know someone that is, please share tonight's episode. Why is the vision so heavy? Why is the calling so heavy? Our guest today is ERIN Lewis, a certified career coach. She is launching her Overwhelm coaching business. She's also the creator of a powerful Overwhelm journal for women to process being overwhelmed, not as a weakness, but as a signal that life is demanding a new version of you. While launching her coaching business, she's also considering a podcast. So what better place to come than Remove Logic? She's navigating the very things that so many leaders are experiencing in this season. So, and we're here to have real talk with ERIN Lewis, and I want to pop her in, bring her to the stage. Hey, ERIN.
Hello. How are you doing?
Excited. I'm great. I'm so excited to have you on. I truly believe that our guests are going to benefit from your here, as I do when I talk. But you are so welcome to come anytime, any place, anywhere that I am.
Thank you
and
so
share.
much.
But thank you so much for coming on. Tell me a little bit about you. Introduce to the Remove Logic. We'll dive into this overwhelmed space.
Okay. So I am originally from Texas as well. I have done everything in the way that I thought I needed to do, right? I have 3 degrees, I have many, many years of experience. I have traveled well, I have lived well. But what I realized is I have been doing things according to someone else's plan.
Mm.
And I did things that I thought were important for me to be happy, because that's what society had told me, right? And told all of us, quite frankly, especially as Gen X girls. It was like, you got to get in here and you have to get the career and the man and and the learning and whatever, all the things. And it just drove us all right on off the edge. Like we were
Yeah.
all exhausted. So a couple of years ago, a few years ago, just after my mom died, I got my master's in informatics. And I said, okay, tech is going to be different. Tech is going to be this kind of panacea, right? But the thing with tech is it's always changing. And there's never this time to really get settled in. It's
Mm.
constant learning.
Yeah.
And I landed in a position that wasn't a great fit for me. And last year, at the end of the year, I ended up in burnout.
Mm.
And burnout is beyond overwhelm. It is not just, I can't get myself together. I'm tired. I don't really know. I'm confused all the time. There begins to be psychological issues, right? And
Yeah.
neurological issues.
Mm.
And what I had to do was sit down, process what was happening to me, and figure out why.
Mm.
And so, in my process of doing that, I figured out that there are so many women, especially women of color,
Mhm.
who have gone down the same path. And I am now reaching out to make sure that we are able to stay out of burnout, or if you're in burnout, then, get you out of there.
Yeah.
And help people, if you're just an overwhelmed, figure out where you are now so you don't get to burnout.
Right, right. I call it building while living. You whatever you're working on, life is going to do what life does. But navigating this building while living space that we find ourselves in, especially if you are that type A personality, and that is all you're always moving, always going, and
Yep.
always doing. But when you hit these walls, most often we don't even realize we've hit a wall until we're actually on the wall.
Stopped.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm stuck here. And you don't even, realize that you need to stop, ask for help, assess where you are, and be able to navigate. Okay, I've got to come off this wall. So, the
Yep.
truth about being overwhelmed and being burnout, I want you to talk about where did the diagnosis for you come? When you hit the wall or you realize, what was the diagnosis, that self-awareness that you had to face?
Yeah. So I didn't know what was happening, right? And I talk a little bit about this on my Substack. I absolutely had to have a place to discuss what was happening with me. And so probably about October, I was online logging into, a website that I use all the time, and I could not remember the password.
Right.
And like this is it's what I do. I use it 3, 4 times a day. I log in all the time. And I sat there wondering, okay, is this perimenopause? Is this just like age? Like, what is happening? Am I not getting enough rest? And it's a combination of all those things, quite frankly. But it got me to the point where I was really worried. And I said, I don't forget passwords. I forget tons of times and things and all kinds of stuff, but I don't forget passwords. And it was an hour before I could get that password. And I sat there doing permutations of the password, trying to figure out how to log in. And
wow.
And it was scary for me. So the first person I went to was my therapist. And I was like, hey, I had a weird thing happen to me. Talk me through this. What happened? And she said, well, tell me about other things that are happening. So I told her, I was starting to not sleep well. I was starting to, I had not noticed it, but my partner had noticed I wasn't eating as much as I had before. there was a level of brain fog that was kicking in that I, had experienced some before, but not that level. And things that I normally did easily were just becoming difficult all the way around. And she said, it kind of sounds like you may be experiencing burnout. I want to have a discussion with you about what is going on in your life other than work. And for me, that of course, I didn't think about, okay, all these other things were adding into it, right? I just thought, well, work is challenging right now.
Yeah.
But, we don't think about the hundreds of decisions we make before noon every day. And those things, all those little decisions, all those things, they lead to decision fatigue. But we keep pushing because that's all we've known to do, right?
Yeah.
And so when we continue to push ourselves beyond that point, we end up in overwhelm. And when we're already overwhelmed and we keep working, we end up in burnout.
Right.
And that is your body saying, you have got to stop. It's not a failure. Like you said, it's a signal. And it's a signal that we have to do something different. And so that was the signal that I got from my body. I was having headaches. I wasn't sleeping well. I was not eating the same. I was forgetting things. Like I said, all the things that you hear about, those were happening to me. And that's when I knew something had to change.
Yeah. One of the things just listening to you is being self-aware. And I know it's like you put that out there and it just feels like, oh, that's one of those nice words, but really monitoring yourself to know, like you said, I don't forget passwords. So there's something here that I just don't overlook. And we do overlook a lot of things. So how can people distinguish between this healthy pressure that we find ourselves in, building while living, and destructive stress?
Yeah.
What kind of signals or what things? And I like this. Let me say this. I like the fact that you said my therapist, because oftentimes people don't even feel the need to, to go to a therapist to seek some type of help to navigate life. And I like that that's something that you do. And I want you to kind of talk about that. Where did you make that decision? Because that's a great decision to go and see a therapist. It takes courage. I know, to talk to someone outside of your familiar space, but distinguishing healthy pressure and destructive stress. Talk about that too.
So first, with the healthy stress versus destructive stress, right? Because you do need a certain level of stress. Your body builds a certain level of stress just to get you moving, just to get you things. There's an internal pressure, right? You need that just to move, to do things, to get going. And part of what happens is, the way our society is now, we have a lot of these stresses that just build up in our body. Right. And the first thing that you have to do, and this is something that I even overlooked for a long time, you really have to pay attention to what is happening with your body, because that's the only way that you get the signals, right? Right. No one's going to walk up with a sign and say, hey, it looks like you're overwhelmed. Maybe you should. Yeah. No one pops into your brain and says, hey, I think you are in burnout. I think you really need to blah, 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 blah. Right. It is your body, because that's the only way you can give yourself signals. Yes. And so, I would say that there are things like stomach issues, headaches. I know that they say, oh, women in our, after 40s, you're in perimenopause, and so you might have brain fog. Let me tell you, just because you're having brain fog, it doesn't mean it's something that should stick around. And it doesn't mean that's something you should not ask about. I get that it's normalized, but it's still a symptom. And sometimes it's a symptom of something else. And so you need to make sure that the cluster of symptoms that you're having, is something that is not indicative of something worse. But I would say anytime something is happening different, that your body is not doing what it normally does, you need to seek out help from a doctor, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a therapist. And do not let people tell you, oh, it's just perimenopause. It's fine. You'll be okay. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's what you want to make sure you're clear on. Now, the second thing you said about, what made me decide to get external help and get, help from a therapist. My mother passed away in 2018. And before she passed away from ALS. And that is a terrible disease. It is horrible. You watch the person that you love slowly lose their abilities over time. They are still 100% in their mind, but they don't have the ability to do the things that they once did. And for my mother, who was a very strong, very capable, out there independent woman, watching that was really tough for me. And so I found a therapist at that point to pre-process death, because I knew that watching my mother, who I was very close to, and I knew that was going to be a difficult thing. And one of my friends said, maybe you should get into therapy now. And at first I was like, now? I'm like, she's not even dead yet. But they said, it's good to pre-process some of this, start thinking about some of the things you're going to be dealing with. Handle those things now. And so this is a therapist that I have seen off and on since about 2017. When I have something come up, I come to her and I say, hey, I have something happening here. I need to talk this through. I need to make sure that I am focusing on the right things. I need to resolve this. I need a strategy. I need some workshop, she gives me like worksheets, like all kinds of little things. Her thing is, I need you actively working to get through this. Or sometimes she'll say, you cannot work through this. You just have to feel it.
My goodness.
Let yourself be in it and release it.
Yeah.
And so, for me, once I knew that I had something interesting, odd, weird happening with my mind, my memory, my whatever, I went right to her and said, hey, I got something happening here.
Yeah. I love that you said that you pre-process something. Oftentimes, the situation, life does what life does. There are things that come that you can understand inevitable moments, but then there are also moments that are unaware, but you still have to have that time to process it. And I love the fact that you use that term pre-processing to give yourself room to grow to something that was inevitable. And oftentimes we don't do that. When I listen to you, the therapy piece and talking to someone as a, that is something that we don't do. We just we feel like we just endure. We're just going to go through and, this is part of life and I'm just going to manage it myself. But breaking cultural norms is what, like I said, here on Remove Logic, we are about breaking those patterns. And sometimes it is things that we are stuck in culturally that also frame our experiences, good, bad, or indifferent. So when you're talking about burnout and how we, as a culture, we live in overdrive. We live in thriving and surviving on same planes rather than actually surviving. We're always in that place of survival. Okay, I got to survive. I got to make it. But, we really should be thriving, living in that fullness in the life. And I'm not saying this euphorically, but I'm saying this, that it is something that we condition ourselves to struggle, to live in burnout, survive in burnout, to be exhausted and still burn out at the same time, but I'm still going and not stopping. So how do you push forward when there is doubt or even exhaustion shows up? What do you do to push forward?
So I'm going to be very honest. I don't anymore.
Okay.
I do not push forward. And I'll tell you why, because that's how I got into burnout. Okay. Right. And I realized I thought I had been in burnout before, but I've never been in burnout. I had been overwhelmed. And I sit here as someone who worked full time, went to school full time, and helped my father take care of my dying mother. I did that for 2 years. And at that point, I was tired. I was exhausted. But in my head, I was just like, you know what? This is just what we do. Life is out here life in, and we cannot stop. Yeah. And so I think part of what happened is, and I do feel like this is part of our epigenetics that we have
It
as
is.
a people inherited. And it is something that came from a time when we were not allowed to stop. So if you
Just
think about, people could not be like during slavery, you couldn't be tired and like,
no.
oh, I'm gonna go over here and rest. No,
Mhm.
that was not happening.
Yeah.
And then even in Jim Crow, right? If you think about Jim Crow, there was nothing that was easy, simple, plain about that. We had to take long bus rides, walk wherever to get to wherever we
Right.
had to do. Then, if you were able to work, whatever,
Right.
you had to go do it there. And then you had to take that long bus ride, walk, whatever, back home. And
Right.
then you had to come home and handle things in the family, especially for women,
Yes.
handle things for your kids, your husband, wash, clean, and get ready to do it all the next day. And
Right.
so I know that those women were in burnout.
Yeah.
I know they were.
Yeah.
And they did not have the luxury of being able to say, I am going to sit down and figure out what I can say no to, what I can walk away from, or
Right.
even just rest my mind for a day.
Yeah.
Resting the day doesn't get you out of burnout, but it can at least get you a little bit of comfort, like in that moment.
Yeah. And even for you to realize this, but you're still building something. You're starting to launch your overwhelmed business
Yeah.
coaching, and then also the book, and inevitably a podcast.
Yeah.
What is it that I know you're talking about not pushing forward? I know you had to do some self-assessment.
Yes.
I know you had to sit back on some things. One of the tools that you talked to me about was this overwhelmed journal. How did that help
Yes.
you even putting that together? I'm sure that was a tool that helped you while you were creating this journal.
So I'll tell you what happened. Overwhelm is not a too much work problem. It is a problem of boundaries and
Mhm.
not centering oneself on oneself, right?
Mhm.
It is
Mhm.
putting everybody else first. It is putting everything else first and not doing what really matters to you and for you. And
Mhm.
so I had to sit down and say, okay, while I like my company, and I do, it's a good company, I cannot work 12 hours there and then hope to keep my life in balance.
Mhm.
That does not work. And so I had to learn to set gentle boundaries. Sometimes just very plain, very honest boundaries.
Mhm.
I still care for my father, so he is a priority. I have a partner who has a 7-year-old. They are a priority.
Yeah.
And then moving forward in a way that will eventually enable me to move away from a job that brought on that burnout, right?
Right.
So part of that is setting boundaries, having a plan,
Mhm.
figuring out exactly what matters for you.
Yeah.
And, and I'm not going to say it's easy, it's tough because, like I said, at one point, I was taught, and it was ingrained in all of us. This is what you do as a proper lady. This is what you do as a real woman. This is what we do in our community. And, you know, all those things, not to say they're bad, they're someone's idea of
Yeah.
what needs to happen, but
Mhm.
you have to figure out what is your true idea of who you are without trying to fit societal norms, without trying to appease everyone, and knowing that if you're making everyone else happy, you are pouring from your cup will be empty one day.
Right.
And if no one else is pouring into you, what do you do then? You can't help
Right.
anybody else and you're empty.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I sat down, I developed some boundaries for myself, and I made a plan for myself. And I focused on what mattered for me. And then I sat down and thought about, I processed
Yeah.
what resistance comes up when I focus on me.
Yeah.
What are and as I did this journal, I didn't just say, okay, here's the thing, just think about it. I have prompts that actually are about processing. What do you feel when what is it like for you to?
Mm-hmm.
And those are the important things that we have to do. We really have to start thinking internally about what is important for us and how we show up for ourselves.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
recentering was critical for me. And that's why I developed that journal.
I love it. Now, give me a couple of tabs out of your journal, and then the name of your company or your business is at
Yeah.
52 tabs open.
It is. Yeah.
Tell me how you arrived at 52 tabs open.
So, I got to 52 tabs open. I was just thinking, a lot of people are out here and we are overwhelmed. Like a lot of us are overwhelmed. And I was looking and I'm like, I have all these browser tabs open. Like, we're out here. We are all out here with like 2 side hustles. We got our main job. We got life on us. And we got like 52 browser tabs open. And I'm like, I'm 52. I have 52 tabs open. I do. I got those browser tabs open. And so I was like 52 tabs open.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful because it's resonating with people. Like they're like, ooh, yes, I have 48 tabs. I got 27 tabs today, And the thing that I say is, okay, are you closing any tabs? Are you still opening new ones? Right. And it's okay if you still opening one. Like sometimes you just have to.
Yes.
But are you closing tabs? What are you doing? Right.
Yes.
And so one of the things that I did in this journal is I try to do things that are not the normal things that you would think about when recentering yourself. There are some things like, okay, have a nice, have a leisurely bath. What is it like to show up for yourself? Did you have any resistance when you chose to take an hour to sit in a tub, right? Because some people do. Some people cannot. They cannot put bubbles in a tub, oil in a tub, whatever, and think about themselves. They cannot do it.
Yeah.
But I also have things like go to a local makerspace, take a tour, and then think about what is it like? Which of those activities resonated with you? What is it like to be in a creative space where creators are also there and you have options? So part of what goes on is we tend to put those things aside. I don't have time to have hobbies. I don't have time to tour a creative space. I don't have time, but you have to make time to do those things for yourself.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'll tell you, I am in a Facebook group that, it's all Black women doing tech things. And then there's another one's like Black Women Read. And one of my favorite posts that I saw this year, someone said, tell me about a hobby that no one would ever expect you did. And the things Black women were doing in that group, fencing, falconry, archery. And I was like, I just did mosaic. Like this is like, I'm behind with the falconry, But I love the fact that so many of these women had discovered things that would not even be something that had been approached, that had been given to them. Like no one would have said, hey, go and find a falcon and train it. And then, right. No one would have said, pick up a bow and arrow. And despite the fact that probably, someone in their family may have used one to hunt, no one ever said, pick up a bow and arrow and see how that helps you center what you want. It wasn't just dancing. It wasn't just, all the things that you think when you think, oh, Black women. And it was amazing. And I loved that. And I said, look at all these Black women out here centering on themselves.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely, and the joy on the faces. I loved it.
Yeah. I like that time and make yourself take the time to sit in something. I'm always aware that, when things happen, we're so quick to want to get out of it. But sit in that space and see what you need to learn, what you need to gain. Everything that comes is not always a loss. It's a lesson. It's a lesson. Many entrepreneurs are, they're not overwhelmed just by work, as you said. they're overwhelmed by becoming someone new. Like, look at these women that, falconry and fencing and the things that they're doing. What did you have to do to overcome all of that to get to this new person that we're seeing? So that's an identity shift. And oftentimes when we're overwhelmed, you really come to the place of realizing this old me can no longer serve where I'm going, And so when you had an identity shift, which you obviously had to have to realize I'm overwhelmed, because even in being burnout and overwhelmed, I think one of the things that we realize is what's not acceptable, that this is not okay, and it's not a negative that someone is imposing something on you, but it may be, again, back at the boundaries where you are allowing something that no longer fits, no longer is acceptable in this space that I'm in. So what identity shift had to happen for you to move towards the vision of, I'm going to launch a overwhelmed coaching business? What shifted?
Yeah. So I'll tell you, I had coached before. I am a certified career coach, and I have also coached businesses, right? I did that for a few years. And I think the thing that shifted for me was I left those and I enjoyed them. But in my head, I was like, I'm not earning enough money. I need to be earning more money. And while great, I need to eat. That's wonderful. I'm not saying don't eat, right? You need a roof over your head and you need food. But I left things that I really enjoyed for something that I felt would bring me more money, right? Faster. And looking back now, I realize that my growth now is not about the money. The money is there. And when you are doing the thing that you're meant to be doing, it comes, and that's fine. But part of what I had to do was wake up to myself one day and say, it's okay. You are not in the position that you need to be in. Maybe this company can help you find something else there. Maybe they can't, but you have to do what is best for you. And that weekend, I woke up. I was going about my day, kind of doing some planning. I hadn't even thought about doing my journal at that point. And I just said to myself, there's got to be a better way. I'm ready to move on to something different. And that day I just cried. Like there was I'm like, where did these tears even come from? I'm not like someone who wakes up and just goes, oh, I'm going to cry it out today. Like nothing wrong with that. I think people should, if you need to cry it out, cry it out. But I've never been that person. And so when I did that, it felt alarming. And I'm like, where are these
what
tears
is this
coming
salty
from?
stuff that's coming out of my face?
Like, what is this? Do I catch it and try to play? I don't know, but it felt weird, right? But once I let it happen, it was really a catharsis. It was really that shedding of, okay, that was my mind and my spirit probably acknowledging that passing, that the old ERIN, she's not here now. This is the new ERIN.
Yeah.
And part of what happens is you mourn that.
Yeah.
Internally, you don't even acknowledge it half the time, but your body, like I said, your body knows and it will send you signals. You will mourn that.
Exactly.
And I did, right? That was oh my goodness, I have shed that.
Yeah.
Wow. But that's what I experienced. And on the other side, I feel stronger. I feel better. I feel calmer. I feel more at peace. And now I put together a plan for myself that I know is doable.
Yeah. When you talked about taking on this job and it wasn't a fit, you left something that you were enjoyed doing for the fact of a paycheck. And I was, just this week, just notes and preparing for a show. The words that some opportunities are a trap with a paycheck attached. Some opportunities, and somebody needs to hear that.
I'm gonna write this down right now because that is going to be somewhere in some of my
Some opportunities are a trap with a paycheck attached, and you end up having the money that you wanted or the money that you desire, but it is coming at such a cost of you losing yourself in the process. And oftentimes we will look and think, okay, I got this bill due, I need to handle this. But there again, those are those stressors. There is some healthy pressure, but then there are some destructive decisions that we make under pressure that lead us to burnout moments, that lead us to those awakening, like, oh Lord, I did the wrong thing here. And that paycheck is good, it's in your account, but my goodness, is it a trap? Did it diminish your dreams? Is it taking away from your destiny? Is it causing you to lose the vision that you set out for? Because you said, I was doing something that I enjoyed, and all of a sudden I took this. And all of a sudden you see, look, almost like the life is dwindling out of you, So when you make those types of moves, again, because you got to get out the trap now, you realize I zigged when I should have zagged. And I'm missing all my zen, I'm missing my zen moment. So how do you stay grounded? When you know that responsibilities are there, but I'm starting to expand, you want to start the life coaching, the career coaching business. And then you realize, wow, I made a decision here that I need to get out of. How do you ground yourself back again? What do you do? What did you do?
Yeah. So for me, and I'll say this, I knew 6 months in. And I said to myself, well, there's nothing you can't do. Like, just buckle down and do it, right? And I say this to myself all the time. I helped take care of my mom while I was working full time and going to school full time, and I still had my social life. Like, I was in that, right?
Yeah.
But when the burnout actually happened, I sat down and I said, what are my priorities? And I set myself 3 goals for this year. The first one is understand my neurology. What causes burnout? How do I not get here again? Other than, like, I get it is boundaries. It is important. But as someone who has ADHD, who is neurodivergent, there are other factors that we need to consider, right? So understand my neurology. Number 2, find a way to make money that is lower stress. And do I still need the amount of money that I'm getting right now? No, it's fine. I can live with less of it. It's fine. Because you can chase money, and sometimes when you catch it, it's not what you thought. Just like you said, sometimes opportunities are a trap.
The trap.
A paycheck, right?
A paycheck attached.
Yeah. Sometimes when you catch what you want, it's not what you thought.
Yeah.
And the other thing I said was, okay, I have to have a plan for these things. And so it wasn't, how do I make money right now, right? Because I'm already making money. I'm in the job. Like, it's fine. The goal is, how do I transition myself to what I want for me?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the thing. It really was for me making the plan.
Yeah.
And the plan might change. Like, a plan is not written in stone. It is a living document, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is something that you might have to adjust on the fly every week. You might have to sit down monthly and say what worked, what didn't, right?
Yeah. Yes.
But the goal is, if you know where you're going and you're flexible, you can make a plan that works for you. And when you already know, this is where I end up, like this is my finish line.
Yeah.
What success now looks like for me. When I get there, I know, okay, I'm here. Do I want to develop another plan, or do I want to sit and let myself celebrate this for a little while?
Yeah.
And so it was for me planning and understanding how I got there, how I got into this situation where I overlooked my mind at 6 months, who said, hey, this is not a fit for you. I just said, no, I can do it. It's fine. Because I've always done it. I'm hardcore Erin. I can do it. No.
What is it? I'm your superwoman,
Right. That's
and
exactly.
we just go
I'm
charging.
Superwoman. I mean, do you see my superheroes on the wall? Right. I can do it.
I got this. I got this. I can carry that. I can do this. But again, that's an identity shift. Yep. Where you have to learn how to lay your strength down when it needs to be laid down, and look for that space that's a protected space to lay my strength down. Waking up, like you said, and I was crying, and, to have a space that's safe and like I can release these tears, even though they're not familiar, that it's safe here. I'm okay with this. And not just, okay, I'm going to push through this. No, let me stop. Let me have this moment that I'm identifying, as you said, this new ERIN. That old ERIN is gone, and new ERIN. Look, I'm shedding some skin so this old me can come forward. And it's overwhelmed and identity shift at the same time. Now, turning pressure into strategy, because obviously that is something that you're doing right now, to take something that real to you, burnout, overwhelm, something that you overcame, and now you're turning it into a strategy, into a business. And I love that. I want to talk to you about pressure without strategy. We know it will create burnout. So now you are in this space where you're turning that pressure into a strategy, into a business, and moving forward. What is that like to you? Like what tools did you use to get to this place?
So a lot of tools, quite frankly. I'll be very honest with you. I have my coworker Sila, which is Claude AI. I have named Sila, right? Okay. Stina and Sila. I write out what is going on with me, and that turns into my Substack. And part of that is when you are growing, when you are changing, you are required to have some vulnerability. You don't have to have it with a huge number of people, but you have to have it, because that is the work, right? That is where things come from. You have to allow yourself to say, this is who I am, and this is what is going on. And I don't exactly know fully where the road is going or how I'm gonna get this road built, but I know my end goal, right?
Yeah.
And so I sit down very frequently with my, CLA strategic planner. I do write. That is part of my Substack. I have joined a coaching group. So I am a member of Positive Intelligence Coaching. And I am working through their startup process right now. And I will be launching in April my overwhelm coaching business, and that will be rebalance coaching, because the goal is you have got to build a balance back into your life. If you look around the world, part of what most cultures realize, and I think it's something that we have kind of gotten away from here in the US, is you need balance. You need to be able to have fun and work hard. You need to be able to sleep and be awake. You need to be able to, work and play. And we have kind of gotten this capitalist mentality that it is all about just go in and just grind, because you don't need more. That's right. More things, more money, more whatever. And when you wake up one day and you go, all these things are not critical. These things are all not important. For me, it was about how can I affect change in people and prevent folks from having the challenges that I have faced, or be there to help them ride it out. Right. And so I realized that I do love coaching, which is why I shifted from business coaching to, this overwhelm coaching. Because I feel like in the times that we are experiencing now, I'm looking at, you have purpose requires capacity, right? folks are at capacity right now because they're so busy looking at everything around them. They've gotten out of balance. They have uncentered themselves. And so I have now come to the point where I want to help people recenter. Everything around us is screaming.
Yes.
And the only way to tune that out is to recenter. It's not going to stop screaming. It's not.
No, you're so right. But capacity is this inner capacity.
That's right.
And that it starts, anything that goes on, it has to change on the inside.
That's
and
right.
I love how, you're walking us through those steps and how you can take, I'm over here, I'm burnt out and I'm overwhelmed. But then you begin to look at, how am I moving to a place where I can use this in a strategy, in a strategic way? And it's not so defeating and self-sabotaging.
That's right.
Where you're just like, okay, I'm not in denial. I know that I'm here, but I'm still self-sabotaging because I am not, operating and applying some good skills, some better choices, some boundaries. So you're walking us through to this place. Now, I want to talk about your coaching business. I don't want to let you go and we don't do that. I want to talk about how people can find you. Where can they find you in your coaching business?
Yeah. So my coaching business is not officially launched until April. In the meantime, I am 52 tabs open like everywhere.
Okay.
Mostly Instagram and Substack, but also on Facebook.
Okay.
I'm just me, ERIN Lewis. But also you can find 52 tabs open in those other places. I will be in the coming weeks launching a beautiful, it is essentially an assessment to find out how you're sabotaging yourself. And I am looking forward to sharing that with people and then having discussions with them about which ways they're sabotaging themselves, because I feel like it's critical for us to know a lot of times these self-sabotage moments, they came from youth, right? They came from when we were children. We develop habits as children, and as kids, they're healthy, right? Or they're a thing that we just think like, oh, this is what we do, right?
Yeah.
But we never break those, and we never learn better ways to deal with those as we grow into adulthood. We don't even realize we're doing them. I have been an overachiever, and I did not realize being a hyper achiever is something that is a self-sabotage. It keeps you from connecting with people. It keeps you from being realistic about things around you. It keeps you in judgment about whether or not others are performing as well or their portion or whatever. And all these things become impediments as you grow over time.
Right.
And so I am looking forward to rolling out that assessment. Anyone who is connected to me, you may follow me at 52 tabs open on Instagram, 52 tabs open on TikTok, 52 tabs open on Substack. And I am ERIN, and you will see my rebalance coaching on that will be coming out on Facebook. And then you'll see discussions about that on all of those channels as well.
Okay. I would love for you back, and when you launch the career coaching, business coaching, come back and talk about it and share some more of your wisdom. Now, do you have any speaking engagements coming up or any place where people can reach you?
Yes, I actually do have a speaking engagement at the end of this month on March 28th. I will be speaking at the Denton Alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I am a Delta. Right. Hello, Soros. They are having a women's symposium. It is I think their 25th women's symposium. I don't remember the number now. I need to look at that. But they're having women's symposium, and that's going to be Denton Ryan High School, I believe is what that is, or where that is. And I will be speaking there. I will be putting information out about that on my channels as well, so that people can come to see me speak. They can come hear information from other wonderful speakers who are looking out for the health and well-being of women. And let me just say this. We are in a time when women's feelings, rights, everything is being rolled back.
Right.
And I don't just mean medical health care, medical rights. I mean, I am watching women who have had their own businesses, who have had wonderful jobs, who have had success over many, many years, and those things are being taken away. Women are being laid off from jobs that they were wildly successful on. And these are things, especially Black women, these are all things that I feel are very intentional in controlling women. Yeah. And because if we're not independent, what are we doing? Right? Dependent on other people, on men, on whoever. And that in itself has a chilling effect on how we see younger women become independent and move through the world. Right. And so, I love the fact that they are doing this women's symposium. And again, that is March 28th, and I will get more information to you so you can share it with your audience. And definitely. I will also have that on my channels as well. Yeah.
And just what you said about the Black women and how we're being assaulted, within this nation as far as mentally, financially, spiritually. The assault is real, and the rights are being diminished and taken away every day. But I think, again, the mental wellness of the Black woman is something that we should check on. I'm so glad that you came on today just to give us just some skills and some tools and how to navigate burnout, how to navigate being overwhelmed, as far as how do I apply these things to my life? Because it's not just career. No. This is every moments where you can just find yourself with that. I've hit the wall. I can't take anymore. What can I do? But how do I pick it up? Yep. I know that we're about to go, but I want to talk to you about you're talking about launching a podcast. You got a lot of things going on right now. Yeah. You're managing it well. I love the fact that you're smiling. You don't look overwhelmed. So you're applying some of these strategies here, obviously. So why a podcast, and what are you thinking about as a podcast?
Yeah. So one of the things that I realized is I enjoy the one-on-one aspect of coaching, right? But there is something about podcasts that persists, right? Someone can pick up a podcast 5 years down the line and glean some kernel of wisdom from that podcast. Yeah. And I think it's very important that, I hear lots of people that are saying things in podcasts that are problematic. I'll just leave it at that, right? And so I feel like it is important to have what a wise woman told me is a hard skill. It's a hard skill. Like, I have learned a hard skill. And it is important for us to be able to educate each other on how we survived. Yes. How we are growing from that. Mm-hmm. How we are learning about ourselves. And so what I would love to do is have a series of discussions with women who've gone through burnout, who have been in overwhelm, what they did to come out of that. And so right now I'm thinking about, Tales of Overwhelm. I don't know exactly if that will be the title. Yeah. Or maybe 52 tabs closed. Like, they closed all these tabs. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. But the whole thing is, it is understanding that overwhelm, that burnout, they don't appear the same in everyone.
No, they don't.
And the same strategies will not work for everyone. And it's okay if writing and journaling does not work for you. That is perfectly fine. I do not want you buying things that do not work, but I do want you to find things that will. Yeah. Yeah. And so that is what I will be doing, is discussing with women how they came through. And there may be the occasional man too, because you never know. Yes. How they came.
We cannot lift up a woman and leave a man down. That's not what we're about. I believe in the wholeness of the whole family.
That's right.
So yeah, definitely. I'm glad that you said that.
Because that's part of the balance of life. Right?
It is.
That is it. We cannot have a society of only women.
Right.
because how? Right?
Yeah.
It is more.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is very, and it is important to note that while Black women have been, we are currently under attack, Black men are also under attack in a
Yes.
different way,
In a different way.
in a very different way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, that is what I will be doing, and I will be developing that here in the next couple of months. Hopefully
Yeah.
late summer is when I'm looking at getting that out.
I'm excited about it. And,
Me
this is
too.
actually why I created the Remove Logic Media Accelerator, because I'm meeting all these brilliant people with all these ideas, and just to help to guide you through,
Yeah.
okay, starting a podcast, moving from podcast to broadcast, and given the tools and the skills to be able to maintain that thing and put it out there so other people can hear your message. Our stories are more powerful than we
Yes.
realize. And oftentimes, sitting over in the corner, if you hadn't come out and said, hey, I'm overwhelmed,
Yes.
we would not know all of the things that are wrapped on the inside of you if you just stayed stuck in an
Yeah.
overwhelmed place. And so I'm grateful that you come on to Remove Logic and allow our community to get to know you. This space is available for women just like you, men too. We don't forget the men.
That's
But
right.
anyone that has a story where you have overcome, you found a strategy to dig yourself out of something. Always there is a message that somebody else can use, and your message deserves a microphone and a strategy.
Yes.
ERIN, you come with a strategy. I love that you are launching the business coaching, career coaching. I love that you have the journal and all of these tools. I want to be able to put your information out on our Facebook page, Remove Logic, and as well
Yes.
as my own personal page. So send me the information for March the 28th.
It is
Right?
March the 28th, and it is the 27th annual Women's Symposium at John H. Geyer High School in Denton, Texas, from 10 to 2.
Okay. All
I
right.
will
And if
send that
you
as well.
send that to me and we will get that out. But I want to say to you, thank you. This is a signature Remove Logic moment, because we are here to help people get unstuck. And when
Yes.
you add to the layers of being stuck, it may have been something as a
Yep.
child. We talked about epigenetics. Then here you are as this grown woman, this adult person, and the very effects from something in your past 10 years ago. You talked about 2018 and losing your mom, and
Yep.
how that caused you to prepare for the possibilities of overwhelm. We need these types of tools. And sometimes the reason you feel overwhelmed isn't just because you're failing.
Right.
And we need to get that out there, because people feel like you're a failure because you're burnt out. You're a failure because I'm overwhelmed. That is not the case. And I want to thank you so much for coming on and just giving us the encouragement and enlightening the Remove Logic community about carrying the future version of and how to navigate that identity shift. Realize you're overwhelmed. Is there anything you want to leave us with before I close out?
I just want to thank you for, number one, having me here to speak with your audience, because I think that part of what has gotten us into some of these burnout cases is we try to follow logic. And it is okay for us to say, logic is not always the thing that's going to get me forward here. Sometimes you do have to take a step back. It might seem counterintuitive. It might seem like it's not the thing that you want to do. But if you are not looking in the current moment and you look further down the road, that's okay. Look long term. I say I'm in this for the long game. And that is the thing that takes us out of the immediate, the overwhelm. It doesn't have to be now. It doesn't have to be immediate. You don't have to respond to everything now. Look at the long game and figure out what's best for you. And that is the key for all of us. So thank you so much for having me. I have enjoyed this discussion. I'm looking forward to coming back in April, May, June, whatever.
I can't wait. And you definitely got to launch here. Let us know so that the people can find you. Again, being overwhelmed is not always a breakdown. It's just something that is stretching in you because expansion is happening. We are looking at a person right now that has expanded beyond the overwhelmed state of mind. Thank you so much, ERIN Lewis, for coming on. And please come back and hang out with the community of Remove Logic. And you guys, I will see you again next week, same place, same time. Catch me on the Fishbowl Radio Network on Thursdays or the Lit TV Network on Mondays. Thank you so much for joining me on Remove Logic. And I will see you guys next week with another Power Pack moment and a wonderful guest. Thank you, ERIN.